Hello, live from the desert of northwest China's Dunhuang. You're watching our special program on the Belt and Road Initiative. And this week, we're touring another critical place along the Silk Road, the city of Dunhuang. This is a desert oasis city that connected China with West, with India and Central Asia. I'm Shang Yang with Xinhua News Agency. Welcome to join our show today. And this is the place where China's trade was left and then went into Europe. Well, how could the trade be able to be transported to the West regions? By camel caravan. So here I am with our crew at the Mingsha dunes, or whistling sand dunes here at Dunhuang. We are ready for a camel ride. So leading our camel caravan today is Mr. Zhao. Hello.
你好.
Like many local families, he offers camel rides to tourists to make a living. So especially in the month of July and August, tourists will flock here to enjoy the beautiful scenery here. So we will start jumping on to the back of the camels here. I want my crew to come closer, and as we were told, these camels are all well trained. So the last person has to jump on the camel first, as the leading one, if the leading camel stands up, then the rest ones will stop crouching. They will stand up. So they are over 6 feet tall. That's why we want to make sure the last person get on the camel. I know you guys must be very excited. So imagine we're traveling the ancient Silk Road here. We're at Dunhuang, northwest China's Gansu province. This will be a very interesting tour here, as if you come to Dunhuang, you have to take the camel ride, because good guys will get you around in the vast desert here. Well, on at over 6 feet tall camel here. I will need your help. So guys, if you just join Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube for our special program, you have, wow, this is a big camel here. It's almost over 6 feet tall, and we will be traveling in the ancient Silk Road here. This is northwest China's Dunhuang city, a desert city that connected China with India and West and Central Asia along the ancient Silk Road. And now we are at the Mingsha dunes, or we can call the whistling sand dunes here. And now we're enjoying the very pretty scenery here with the yellow smooth sand against the blue sky here. This is our special series of programs for the Belt and Road Initiative, which refers to the Silk Road Economic Belt and the Maritime Silk Road 21st Century, which was proposed by Chinese President Xi Jinping in the year 2013. A lot has been achieved since 3.5 years have already been passed. We've been taking you to the port cities along the Maritime Silk Road. We also have taken you to the important stops along the freight train that connected between China and Europe. Also, we have been to many significant towns that are really actively implementing the initiative. So we wanted to see how they are being revitalized by the initiative and how their culture and history is. So this week we're at Dunhuang, the desert oasis city in northwest China, and leading our camel caravan today is Mr. Zhao. Like many local families, he offers camel rides to tourists for making a living here. And in the year, actually this time of the year is just the beginning of a very busy tourism season. Normally people would flock here in August and in July to have a one-of-a-kind experience riding on camels. So, these camels are all well trained. we have to make sure the last person gets on the camel first. As if the leading camel stands up, then the rest ones will stop crouching. So in that way, we won't be able to jump on them, as most of the camels are over 6 feet tall. Now we are just on the ride here, walking in the vast deserts here. This is actually Mingsha dunes, one of the main attractions here in Dunhuang. The name in Chinese actually means singing sand or whistling sand. This is actually a dunes that stretches over 40 kilometers. It's about 3 kilometers away from downtown in Dunhuang. So right now, here we are enjoying the beautiful smooth yellow sand against the blue sky. According to its special geographical conditions, the sand would actually echo when the wind passes by. That's why we have the name whistling sand dunes here, or Mingsha dunes in Chinese. That's the origin of its name here. It's really an amazing feeling out here at the dunes, but you have to make sure you have to keep hydrated. This is extremely hot weather here with very, very strong sunlight to make sure you don't get sunburned. So guys, this is our series of programs for the Belt and Road Initiative, which refers to the economic belt, Silk Road Economic Belt, and the 21st Century Maritime Silk Road, which was proposed by Chinese President Xi Jinping in the year 2013. Now here we are at another critical place along the Silk Road, the city of Dunhuang, which is a desert oasis city that connected China with Europe, with Asia, especially with Central Asia along the Silk Road. It is through here that trade left China and went into Europe. Well, how the trade were able to be transported to Europe? By camel caravans. So that's why here we are today with my crew at the Mingsha Dunes. We are experiencing a camel ride. We want it to be like the ancient Silk Road travelers. This is actually Mingsha Dunes, or whistling sand dunes here at Dunhuang, one of the main attractions here. Because of its special geographical conditions, the sand would echo when winds passes by. That's why we have the name whistling sand, and that's the origin. The dunes stretch over 40 kilometers. That's why it's a startling reminder that Dunhuang is a desert oasis. So if you're just joining us, we want you to really be with us and comment questions. If you want to know more about the city of Dunhuang, a very critical place along the Silk Road, or you wanted to know camel ride, you wanted to learn the history of Dunhuang, anything you want to share, feel free to comment with that. So we are at northwest China's Dunhuang in Gansu province. So for the past few weeks, we actually been traveling to different Chinese towns and cities to learn about their culture, their history, and how they're being revitalized by the initiative, the Belt and Road Initiative. And this week we are touring another critical place along the Silk Road, the city of Dunhuang, a desert oasis city connected China with Central Asia, with India and the West. So here we are at Mingsha Dunes to really be enjoying the beautiful, smooth, yellow sand against the blue sky, guys. This is live from northwest China's Dunhuang. And yesterday we were touring the world-renowned Mogao Grottos, and today here we are at the Mingsha Dunes, one of the main attractions here. And besides camel ride, you can also take quad bikes, micro light planes, or you can experience sand sledging. Those are just some of the other ways to explore Mingsha Dunes here, which stretches over 40 kilometers. It's about 3 kilometers away from downtown Dunhuang, which is another startling reminder that Dunhuang is a desert oasis. So guys, we are getting close to the Crescent Spring, which contains pure spring fresh water. It's in the shape of a crescent moon. That's where we got the name. And it also reminds some people of the eye of a beautiful woman, lucid, beautiful, and amorous. So we're getting close to the Crescent Spring here. It's believed to be over 2,000 years old, but it's really incredible to know that the lake was able to survive without being filled over by sand, despite all those sandstorms here. So guys, we're live on with China Xinhua News on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is our series of live program on the Belt and Road Initiative. We've been traveling to a lot of places like the port cities along the Maritime Silk Road. We've been taking you to important stops on the freight train that connected China with Europe. And also we've been to some of the significant towns and cities that are implementing the initiative very actively. And this week here we are at Dunhuang, a critical place, a key position along the Silk Road. Interesting rumors and sayings about this Crescent Spring.
好，可以下来了。
Okay, guys, now that was part of our ride on a camel. Now we are. This is from West China's Dunhuang, and you're just looking at the vast desert and sand here at Dunhuang. There is a very famous lake, a very touristy spot here. This is the Crescent Spring. You know, just let you guys know that two of our cameramen are actually on camels. So the camera is moving frequently. That's because our cameramen are riding two camels also with us on this camel caravan here. And you are, I'm just at Crescent Spring, which is a very famous touristy spot here. This is a lake that contains pure spring water here, and you're just looking at the camel. We are on a camel caravan. We are experiencing what the ancient Silk Road travelers were doing. You know, they used camel caravans to transport trade from China to Europe, and this is really a fascinating experience here at Mingsha Dunes in northwest China's Gansu province. Now we are looking at the Crescent Spring, guys. This is a touristy spot here. The lake is in the shape of a crescent moon. That's why we have the name Crescent Spring. It contains pure spring water. It has fish and water weeds that are said to be good for health. It also reminds them of the eye of a pretty woman, very lucid, beautiful, and amorous. And also things about this lake as why it could be able to be surviving over 2,000 years without being filled over by the sands. Because there are so many sandstorms in this area, and how it could be surviving. There are many explanations. Some say because it's low altitude, groundwater will actually converge here to form a lake. Or in the surroundings of the dunes, and the patterns of the wind leave it unfilled over by the sand. And also there is also a tale regarding this Crescent Spring. That, you know, a general that were making a stop here. He actually thrust his sword into the sand, which created this shape of a moon-like lake. If you wanted to come here to visit Dunhuang, are there any hotel information? You know, how many days you might be needing if you want to make a comprehensive tour here at Dunhuang? I want to let you guys know, of course, a lot of online, or you go to the official websites for Dunhuang here, and also specifically of Mr. Zhao. This is our guide for today's camel caravan today. So he is leading the 5 camels here, as 2 of our camels are being ridden by our 2 cameramen over there. So viewers are just asking, if they want to come here to visit Dunhuang, how many days will they be needing? Will there be hotels for them to stay? 游客在问他们如果来的话，这个宾馆有没有让他们来几天可以能够体验敦煌？
一般情况下，游客来的话，3天到4天就足够了。现在敦煌的酒店，在4月份、5月份一点都不紧张，随时都可以在网上可以订得到。
旺季是什么时候？
旺季在6月、7月份，学生放假这段时间。这段时间的话，最好是提前去预订这个宾馆的房间。
Okay, now I've just been told by Mr. Zhao that of course there are hotels. You can make bookings very easily online, and it takes about 3 to 4 days to have a very comprehensive tour here at Dunhuang. Tourism season, the busy season starts from around June and July. So make sure you make bookings beforehand before you come here. Now, viewing the scenery around the Crescent Spring, we will be getting on the camels for a rest tour here today. So I want my crew member to always remember the last person gets on the camel first, as if they see the leading camel standing up, the rest of the ones will stop crouching, and that would be very difficult for us to get on because they're over 6 feet tall. So now guys, you're live with us for a live tour, and now we will be starting our camel tour again for the rest of the journey. We will be getting onto the peaks of the Mingsha dunes here. Now it's my turn. Mr. Zhao, he is our guide for our camel caravan today. Like many local families, Zhao offers camel rides to tourists to make a living. And a lot of tourists flock here in the month of July and August. OK， 赵老师，小赵，我们走的时候尽量顺光。
顺光。行。
So I'm just talking to Mr. Zhao. We wanted to have enough sunlight. Dunes. We're just passing by the Crescent Spring, a very pretty lake, a geological wonder here. It is believed to be here for over 2,000 years. It's incredible that it would be able to survive without being filled over by sand, despite the sandstorms here. Of Mogao and its murals, which are considered to be witnesses of the prosperity of the ancient Silk Road. So since the opening of the Silk Road over 2,000 years ago, so the place of Dunhuang were actually transformed into a key position along that passage. It is really through here that trade left China, went into Europe. camel caravans are transporting all kinds of products with their merchants along this passage here. There might be Chinese silk, Roman glass utensils, Persian bouquets, or Indian spices, all kinds of products. So in that time, Dunhuang is just a city with a population of a few dozen thousands. So, but they were very inclusive, open-minded, and they were very willing to collaboratively development with people from different cultures, and that was why the Silk Road was prosperous. 赵老师，我们能不能到他们的左边去，或者让他们到我们的右边？ So to let you guys have a clear view here, we wanted to show you that we are on a camel ride. You are just looking at the vast desert here at Mingsha Dunes. This is our special live program for the Belt and Road Initiative, which refers to Silk Road Economic Belt and 21st Century Maritime Silk Road, which was proposed by Chinese President Xi Jinping in the year of 2013. For the past few weeks, we've been traveling to different Chinese towns and cities to learn about their culture and history and how they are being revitalized by the initiative. And this week, we're touring a very critical place along the ancient Silk Road, Dunhuang, and an oasis city in the desert here. It is really through here that trade left China and went into Europe. And the trade were able to be transported to other countries in Central Asia and Europe because they used camel caravans, and all kinds of products together with their merchants would take the ride with camels to their destinations along the Silk Road. There might be Chinese silk, of course, and also Indian spices, Persian bouquets, or Roman glass utensils. All kinds of products were transported by the camel caravan to Europe, Central Asia, and the West.
两位美女让一下。
Well, if you're hearing the voice, that was the voice from our tour guide today, Mr. Zhao. He is the guide for a camel caravan today. Like many local families, he offers camel rides to tourists to make a living. We are touring this touristy spot here from northwest China's Dunhuang. This is like time travel back to the ancient Silk Road. Dunhuang was transformed into a very key position along the Silk Road since that passage was opened. We are now, I know a lot of you guys are concerned with that question. We're now at Dunhuang, the city of Dunhuang. Specifically, we're touring Mingsha Dunes. This is about 3 kilometers away from downtown Dunhuang, an oasis city along the Silk Road in desert, and a key position along the Silk Road. It is through here that trade left China and went into Europe over 2,000 years ago along that path. We just showed you guys the scenery, the very stunning scenery along the Crescent Spring, a lake that was in the desert. It was believed to be here for over 2,000 years. Incredible to know that it would able to survive. I just saw our camel eating the green herbage on our way now. They are over 6 feet tall, huge animals. these big guys are the best ones to get you around on around Mingsha dunes. So talking about these camels are very interesting that they have very thick coats that could insulate them from the intensive heat. And also eating the green herbage would make them ingest sufficient moisture. So this is in Dunhuang, an oasis city in the desert in northwest China's Gansu province. We are touring the Mingsha dunes here at the desert here, and so feel free to comment with any questions if you want to know. Someone just asked about the hotel information if they want to come to Dunhuang for a tour, how many days they need if they want to see Dunhuang comprehensively. Well, I just talked to Zhao, our tour guide today. He told me about 3 to 4 days. The busiest season starts around May. This is actually the beginning of another busy season here. So in June and July, it's very busy. So you have to make sure you booked hotels beforehand, before you come here. And just kilometers away, we toured the Mogao Grottos yesterday, a treasure house of a remarkable collection of Buddhism art there. So with the construction of the Mogao Grottos and with the murals, the manuscripts and banners, silk paintings, everything, they were just the witnesses of the prosperity of the Silk Road. So guys, if you're just joining us here, we're live from northwest China's Dunhuang. We are touring the Mingsha dunes. One of the main attractions here, the name in Chinese means singing sand or whistling sand. Because of its special geographical conditions, the sand would echo when wind passes by. That's the origin of its name. And it stretches over 40 kilometers, which is a startling reminder that Dunhuang, the city, is an oasis in desert. So here we are to just be like ancient Silk Road travelers, but now we're enjoying the beauty of the smooth yellow sand against the blue sky. So if you have any questions that you want to ask, feel free. We have our tour guide, Mr. Zhao, with us, who is a local tour guide. Like many local families, he offers camel rides to tourists that are flocking here, especially in July and August. Interestingly, since the Silk Road was opened over 2,000 years ago, merchants would actually cross Dunhuang and go to the vast desert, further westwards to Central Asian countries, and that posed to extreme danger of desert over 2,000 years ago. So money for the construction of the grottos because they want to enshrine or they want to worship gods or Buddhas to pray for their journeys. And in the same way, if they could be back safely from the wilderness, they would also show their gratitude by doing the same thing, making donations for the construction of a grotto to show their gratitude. That is one of the major reasons that the Mogao Grottos were created. You know, with those temples that were carved into the cliff face, with the murals that were discovered later in 1900, those are just witnesses of the prosperity of the ancient Silk Road. During that period of time, Dunhuang was just a small city with a population of about a few dozens of thousands, but they were very inclusive. They were open-mindedness, which helped prompt the prosperity of the Silk Road. So a lot of scholars have said if you wanted to come to only one relic site along the Silk Road, you would definitely come to Dunhuang. Well, if you are here in Dunhuang if you are at the Mingsha dunes, you have to take a camel ride, because they are the best guys to get you around in the dunes, which is really an amazing feeling here out in the dunes, enjoying the pretty landscape, the yellow, smooth sand against the blue sky. So guys, we're here for a camel ride from northwest China's Dunhuang, and we are trying to be like ancient Silk Road travelers. Despite that, we don't have any goods with us right now. So this is a very special program for the Belt and Road Initiative, which refers to the Silk Road Economic Belt and the 21st Century Maritime Silk Road, which was proposed by Chinese President Xi Jinping in the year of 2013. And over 3.5 years have passed. A lot has been achieved. And to really point that out, that in less than about 10 days, the Forum for Belt and Road will be held in Beijing. This is for international cooperation to brainstorm with international partners to come with concrete and practical plans to further advance this initiative. And that is why we had this series of live programs that were making stops along significant places along the ancient Silk Road here. We've been traveling to, as you guys maybe remember, we went to the port cities along the Maritime Silk Road. We went to a lot of the important stops along the freight train that connected China with Europe. And also we went to the significant towns and the cities that are actively implementing the initiative. So feel free to comment with any questions. If you want to know about Dunhuang, the desert oasis in northwest China, a key position along the Silk Road. If you want to know about the Mingsha dunes, which is a very pretty place with the name of whistling sand for its special geographical condition. So when wind passes by, the sand would actually echo. That's the origin of its name. And also we're seeing the Mogao Grottos about kilometers away from here, and the murals, manuscripts, and the construction of the pagodas and temples that are curved into the cliff face are just witnesses of the prosperity of the Silk Road. So tourists would love here in July and August to view the beautiful scenery here at Mingsha Dunes. So guys, feel free to comment with any questions if you want to know. You want to talk about the Silk Road, talk about the significant place that Dunhuang holds along that Silk Road, and also the Mingsha Dunes here, and the camel ride we're experiencing right now with our crew, and to make a time travel back to the ancient Silk Road, as all kinds of products and trading products were transported by camel caravans over 2,000 years ago from China to Europe. There might be Chinese silk and Roman glass utensils, and also Indian spices, all kinds of trading products. The merchants that are from different cultures with the various products would actually gather at the small ancient town of Dunhuang. Back then, we only had a population of a few dozens of thousands, but they were very inclusive, open-mindedness. They were willing for collaborative development, which really prompted the prosperity of the Silk Road. So now I want to take a moment to just enjoy the beauty of the Mingsha dunes here, which is about 3 kilometers away from the oasis city Dunhuang in northwest China. I want you guys to join us for the live tour, and I want you guys to feel free to comment with any questions. So we are getting close. We're getting close to the peaks. Well, as I said many times, Dunhuang is just an oasis city in desert. Actually, it's a critical part along the Hexi corridor, a very critical part along the Silk Road. So all the cities are actually oasis cities along that Hexi corridor here. We just showed you the fresh spring that was called Crescent Spring there. And also, we are close to the Qilian mountains here, where we can collect waters from that mountain. So there are oases nearby, of course. It's really a geological wonder that when we were talking about the Crescent Spring, you know, the lake was in the shape of a crescent moon. It is there for over 2,000 years, which is a geological wonder to be able to survive without being filled over by the sand, despite all the sandstorms here in this region. And there are many explanations about that. And so Dunhuang itself is just a desert oasis. Well, I think it's about 25, 26 degrees Celsius. It's about 20 degrees Celsius. I'm not very sure, but I'm not feeling extreme heat right now. Even though I was told by our tour guides, make sure you have enough sun protection, don't get sunburned. There is intensive heat and dryness here. Well, in daytime, the temperature is about 20 degrees Celsius, but at night, there was a sharp decline. Well, camel milk, if I can call it that correctly, can also be drinking, and there are also even a kind of alcohol called camel milk wine. So why don't you have a taste later if you come to Dunhuang for a visit. So guys, feel free to comment with any questions as we are touring the Mingsha dunes here at northwest China's Gansu province. Camel milk were asked by our viewers. Camel milk can also be drinking, and there is even a kind of wine called camel milk wine. Interesting. I've never tasted it, but maybe later on I'll have a try. So live pictures of our tour here at Mingsha Dunes. According to the name, Mingsha in Chinese means whistling sand or singing sand. As when wind passes by, the sand will actually echo. That's why we have the name Mingsha, a whistling sand. It stretches over 40 kilometers. Camel in Chinese means 骆驼. So guys, camel in Chinese means 骆驼. This is our, if you want to know more, camel caravan. So camel is 骆驼 in Chinese, and camel caravan means 驼队. Dui means caravan or a team. So camel caravan means 驼队. So if you come to Dunhuang, you wanna to experience this, you can say 驼队. We're getting close to some of the peaks here at Mingsha Dunes. This is live from China's Dunhuang, a key position along the Silk Road. We're touring specifically the Mingsha Dunes here. Leading our camel caravan today, or our tour day today, is Mr. Zhao. Like many local families, he offers to make a living. I mean, as I said earlier, this you can have camel rides. You can have camel rides, but also you can experience the macro-light planes or sand sledging that are here. If you want to take a camel ride, it costs about which is around $17 for a ride back and forth, and a tour caravan for that one, or roughly $17. But it's a really amazing experience there. You can have, you stay hydrated. So guys, we're here at Mingsha Dunes. Feel free to comment with the questions. I'm very glad we're having you with us now, because this is a must-see and a critical place along the Silk Road. Many scholars have said that if you can only visit one relic site along the Silk Road, then must be the choice. So in Dunhuang, which is a city about 3 kilometers away, a desert oasis, we can explore the Mogao treasure house of a remarkable collection of Buddhism art, and also you can come here for a camel ride, experience the lives for the ancient Silk Road travelers, and also we can enjoy the beautiful scenery here with the smooth yellow sand against the blue sky. Well, there is a tourism season is from to September or October. So that is the peak season for traveling here. Actually, this time of the year, May, is just the start of a busy tourism season. So make sure you book hotels and everything before in the peak season here. The busiest season might be in June and July. That is summer vacation for a lot of young kids, so their parents might be taking them here for an exclusive ride here on camels. So for each camel, they work for half of the year, and then they take a rest for the rest. So guys, we are live for a very exciting tour at the Mingsha Dunes from northwest China's Gansu province here. This is Dunhuang. Right now, this is the Mingsha Dunes, one of the main attractions here at Dunhuang. We are on a camel caravan to experience and to feel like ancient Silk Road travelers. Leading our camel caravan today is Mr. Zhao. He is a tour guide here, and like many local families, he offers camel rides to tourists, and especially in the month of June, July, and August, which is about the peak season for traveling here. This is northwest China's Gansu province, and we are in the city of Dunhuang. Specifically right now, we're touring Mingsha Dunes, which is about 3 kilometers away from downtown Dunhuang, a desert oasis that were critical along the ancient Silk Road. It is through here that trade left China and went to Europe. So guys, feel free to comment with questions. If you want to know more about the history of Dunhuang or anything you want to know about our live show today, feel free to comment. And we also have a tour guide with us today, Mr. Zhao. He is our guide for our camel caravan. So the cost for a camel ride like this is about 100 yuan, about 17 US dollars. This is our series of live programs on the Belt and Road Initiative. Now we're getting upwards. Right now to get close to the peaks of the Mingsha Dunes. So always make sure you hold on tightly here. Camels are over 6 feet tall. With its widened feet and its gait, they were able to walk in the desert. This is a camel ride for time travel back to the ancient Silk Road, when all merchants from different cultures carrying various products were on the camel caravans, and to transport products from China to Europe. So guys, join our live tour here at Mingsha Dunes in northwest China's Dunhuang. You might have heard the city because it's famous for the Mogao Grottos, the world-renowned treasure house for a remarkable collection of Buddhism art. And also Dunhuang is a key position along the Silk Road. Many tourist attractions here. We're now specifically touring the Mingsha Dunes here in Dunhuang, and we are on a camel ride. So feel free to comment with any questions if you have for our special live program on the Belt and Road Initiative, which was proposed by President Xi Jinping in the year 2013, that refers to the Silk Road Economic Belt and 21st Century Maritime Silk Road. We've been traveling to different Chinese towns and cities to learn about their culture and history. It's really an amazing feeling to be out in the dunes here, but you have to make sure you stay hydrated. So we are live for a tour at the Mingsha Dunes, guys, which in Chinese means singing sand or whistling sand, whispering sand. As the wind passes by, the sand would actually echo, which leads to the origin of its name. We also toured the Crescent Spring, which is a geological wonder for being there for over 2,000 years. It was not filled over by any sand, despite the sandstorms. There are many explanations for that. And my name is Xiangyang. I'm with News Agency. I'm very glad to be on this live tour with everyone that are joining us right now. So guys, I'm Xiangyang with Xinhua News Agency. We're live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter with China Xinhua News. So guys, right now, 赵老师可以停一下了。
手扶好。
So the camel ride minutes. The camel ride is about 40 minutes, guys, and we just had a one-of-a-kind experience. I want you to take a look. This is a spot for the camels that are resting right now here. If you can see that, we have lots of camels resting here in this area. We are at Mingsha dunes. Just let you know, guys, our cameramen are also on camels. If you feel like the images are moving frequently, just hear the sound that come from the camel crew. We just had a 40-minute ride. Normally, that's the amount of time it takes for a camel ride here at Mingsha Dunes in northwest China's Dunhuang. This is a key position along the Silk Road, and we are just getting close to the peak of the Mingsha Dunes here. So it was really an amazing feeling to be out on the dunes here, guys. Actually, Dunhuang, I know the city, oasis city, about 3 kilometers away from the dunes here, is a key position along Silk Road. It is through here that trade left China and went into Europe. So to stop Dunhuang, in Dunhuang, actually, for the live program, but we will continue our journey for the next few days. We're going to be exploring other cities and towns from northwest China's Gansu province to see how they are being revitalized by the Belt and Road Initiative. So guys, I think that will be the end of our live tour here at Mingsha Dunes. And I'm going to say bye. I'm going to say bye in the vast area here at Sand Dunes at the Mingsha Dunes here, guys. So I'll see you soon for our next program. Bye.